Thank you to Maja Hall for your support on Patreon. Tell me where the hell you're taking me and why, otherwise I will zap you again. He seems at a loss for words. I can't tell you. I glare for a moment. I consider just jabbing him again right then and there. Why not? Then the wolf remains silent as he looks away from me. I feel myself getting even more angry. I'm tired of this alien holding me hostage. Well, I guess I just have to figure it out on my own then. I turn away and start moving toward the front of the deck. Amicus shifts around behind me. What? You don't know the first thing about this ship, don't? The big wolf grunts as he tries to get to his feet under him. Don't touch anything! I ignore him and move to the panels, looking them over. The big one in the middle looks promising, and I start poking at it. I know I won't be able to figure out how to turn the ship around, but the wolf's worry over me touching the panels gives me an idea. I could probably mess things up to the point where he'll have to tell me what he's doing, or even how I might even be able to get back. There aren't many other options aside from torturing him, something I don't really want to do. The lines and shapes move with my finger, and Roman numerals pop up randomly here and there. Hey, what are you doing? Amicus huffs and puffs behind me as a circle appears and compresses around my finger like it's zeroed in on something. I look back to see Amicus hobbling onto his tied-together feet, looking just about ready to topple over. You have no idea what... I feel a soft vibration on my finger, not unlike a phone's haptic feedback.
Overriding sleep node. Locked onto Stella 556425.
No! Come! Stop last directive!
Voice commands for piloting or reserve of the Emperor, Amicus.
Humans, stop! Amicus starts hopping towards me on his bound feet, and I scramble to the side so he doesn't run into me. No, no, no! The wolf stares down at the panel as I look down at the window as stars seem to curve all the way to my right, making me feel sick again, and the next thing I know... Oh, shit! The cabin is lit up by an ominous red glow. The windows suddenly tint, blocking the worst of the light. I feel the massive ball of fire right in front of the ship. The size of it is incredible.
Orbital trajectory will intersect with photosphere. Ensure safety straps are in place, making corrective maneuvers.
I only have a moment to wonder what the hell Calm is talking about before Amicus and I are thrown sideways into the left window of the ship. The impact is mostly cushioned by Amicus's body, and I hear him yell and curse under me. Move! Get in the seat! I struggle to reach out into the seat in front of me, but I can barely lift my hand. The gravity of the star is so powerful that it feels like I'm gonna suck out my soul. That it's gonna suck out my soul. Then I'm suddenly boosted up by something behind me, and I look back, the movement making me feel like my neck is gonna break. I see Amicus with his back planted against the window, his feet pushing me up into the seat. I manage to grab the armrest and pull myself into it. Now the left armrest is digging painfully into my back, making it feel like as if a professional wrestler is slamming me into a backbreaker. Professional wrestling references! Hell yeah! Amicus jumps from the window high enough that his feet land against the right side of my chair. Then he jumps again, managing to wedge himself in the footwell of the opposite seat.
Heat shields are compromised. Expect heat damage to outer layer of ship in 30 seconds.
With a great deal of snarling and gasping, he pushes himself awkwardly into the seat, both feet planted against the panels in front of him for leverage. He turns to me, teeth bared, a determined look in his eyes. Look at your right armrest. Do you see the green panel between the red buttons? Through the shock, I'm able to understand him and look down. Now drag your finger across it to the left. It'll steer the ship. I feel panic starting to rise in my chest at the idea of steering a goddamn spaceship. What? Just do it! Point us away from the star! I do as I'm told, sliding my thumb gingerly over the green panel, and slowly the ship turns, pointing away from the star, shifting the incredible force of gravity until it's pulling us back into our seats. Now see the lever between us. Yeah? Pull it down! Now reaching my hand out is almost impossible as it gets pulled back towards the star behind us. Gritting my teeth, I lean forward as hard as I can, practically throwing myself forward and grabbing onto the lever. Then gravity does the rest of the work, and the lever comes down hard. I lose my grip and I get thrown back into my seat. There's that alarm sound again, and the increases twofold as the moment it feels that, and for a moment it feels like my entire body is being crushed into a pancake. And then the burning orange light is gone and the deck goes black.
Running diagnostics. Amicus.
Yes, Com.
Damage to the ship is severe. Recovery mode is required.
Enter recovery mode.
Stand by.
We sit in silence for a long time sitting, but I know ship's gonna come. I sit against the seat with both feet drawn up into my chest, feeling numb and shaky. I also feel stupid, embarrassed, and kinda guilty. On one hand, I nearly just got us both killed. But on the other hand, this crazy alien almost killed me by bringing me here in the first place. At least it feels that way. I still don't know what his ultimate plan is with me. I wonder for the 100th time if I'm gonna wake up. I plug my nose and try to breathe through my nostrils. No air comes through. I sigh and look out the window at the blue globe that we found ourselves in. The star that we just escaped is far away now, and it's still an almost blinding tiny orb to my left, kind of like the sun that was not too long ago. It's lighting up all this dust that surrounds us with an eerie blue glow. It's kind of calming. I look over at Amicus and see him slumped in his chair, looking at the window. His shoulders are hunched, ears drooping, and his head down. He's on the edge of his seat because his arms are still tied behind his back, forcing him to lean forward a bit. Com hasn't spoken since we went into recovery mode, and the ship hasn't moved at all. The usual hum isn't even there. It's like everything is turned off. I finally decide to break the silence. Amicus? I see his ears flick, but he keeps his head down, not even looking at me. I swallow, then try again. Amicus. I see his shoulders rise and fall in a deep sigh, but he keeps silent. I'm about to give up and slump back in my seat when he suddenly responds. What? What's happening? The wolf turns to glare at me. What do you mean, what's happening? You broke the ship! He turns away and continues to sulk. I feel a little anger at that, and I realize that this alien isn't alien at all. He's acting just like an upset human kid that didn't get his way. He makes me a little less afraid of him. Excuse me? Do I have to go through the list of shit that you did to me? Amicus turns to me again, and I can almost see his mind working to think of some sort of comeback. Well, I think you topped it by nearly throwing us into a star, human! You shouldn't have kidnapped me in the first place, wolf! I should be calling you child, since that's what you are. Well, this child outsmarted you, zapped you, and tied you up. I see him bristle and the hackles rising on his shoulders like a dog. You could have killed me. That setting is meant for creatures 3 times my size. How was I supposed to know? I don't know anything about what's going on. I told you what's going on. You really think I'm stupid, don't you? Amicus pouts and turns away again. I think you thought I was some stupid alien that you could just take advantage of. I can tell you've been lying to me this whole time. Amicus flattens his ears even more, shoulders bunching up. Is that what you and your people do? Kidnapping and lying to everyone you meet? Now his hackles really raise up and he turns on me fast. I try not to lean back. Despite the similarities, he's still a wolf, and those teeth are terrifying. I do not lie! The wolf's righteous indignation seems to deflate. The situation is too complicated for you to understand. I glare at him. Who's tied up again? Amicus doesn't take the bait this time and remains slumped. I guess it doesn't matter now. We're probably going to die out here with how badly the ship is burned. That makes my stomach twist a bit. I want to ask him if he's just moping or he actually thinks we're going to die. But another long moment of silence stretches between us. I look out the window again at the towering clouds of dust in front of us. Well, if that's the case, then can you tell me what's going on? Amicus goes on staring out his window. I sigh and lean back, resigned to the idea that I might not ever know why I was dragged out into space to simply get stuck and die in a dust cloud. Then Amicus speaks. I made some mistakes. I glance at him, waiting, not wanting to say anything in case he stops talking. I didn't know your species wasn't part of the Galaxius. It's very illegal to make first contact without authorization from a parent. A parent? The authorities of the galaxy. I frown and Amicus looks at the confusion on my face. How can I put this simply? There are 3 levels in the Galaxius. At the very top are the parents. They arrived in our galaxy from the other galaxies to spread their culture here. Amicus's glance at me. You know that there are galaxies outside your own? Yeah. Amicus lets out a breathy chuckle. Of course, I probably should have expected that. So you must know that their intergalactic travel is incredibly advanced, almost godlike, and that's what they are, gods. There are 6 of them that are still present in our galaxy, though they rarely communicate with us these days. Then there are the Siblings. That's what my species is a part of. The galaxy was scoped out by the parents at the very beginning to find the most intelligent and capable species. They each selected one, and we were the ones picked and uplifted by the Romanus. From then on, it's been our mission to spread their philosophy and culture, to uplift. I try to make sense of that in terms I can understand. So you spread their culture for them. They're like your god, and your species are like missionaries. Amicus shrugs. Yeah, sort of like that. Doesn't sound so great, especially when I compare it to things that have happened on Earth. Mass galactic assimilation. So, why are they doing this? If they got here at the same time, and did the same thing, does that mean they're working together? Amicus shakes his head. We don't really know all the reasons for what the parents do, but we compete with the other siblings. But that brings me to the rest of the sapiens in our galaxy. The children. The siblings spread their way of life to these children and bring them into our fold, under the direction of our parent. Again, they haven't told us exactly what's going on, but we came to the conclusion that it's some sort of competition, and we mean to win for our parent. So I'm a child? Well, no, not really. You're not part of the Galaxius, and that's where I've made my mistake. Like I said, it was illegal for me to contact you, but I didn't know. How did you not know that? Shouldn't you have a record of this type of stuff? That's the confusing part to me. I found Earth in the library, so there was record of it, but there wasn't much. Just a few footnotes about a sapient species there. But because that record exists, I know that your species was uplifted you to child status at some point. In Rome? Presumably. Like ancient aliens? I don't know. If that's the term you use, sometimes the species is unable to be uplifted for different reasons. Too aggressive, too docile, too unintelligent. Amicus glances at me. I thought this is what happened to your species. Then, if we've been uplifted, doesn't that mean that you were already made first contact? Yes, but you're still not part of the Galaxius. That's why I made the mistake. You should know about it, but you don't. Knowledge of other intelligent life is sacred, and for whatever reason, your species lost it. Uplift has been cancelled with species in the past, but we don't completely cut off contact. They're permanently part of the Galaxius. I've never heard of something like this happening before, so I panicked. Amicus glances at the ceiling. Wasn't able to tell me that until he connected to your nexus. Nexus? Another word that doesn't translate. Like, the technology that connects places, people, information, the internet? If that's your word for it. So, I try to understand everything I'm being told. Why didn't you just tell me all of this before you kidnapped me or knocked me out? I see Amicus's ears flattened and he looked away, clearly ashamed. I don't know. I don't fully understand the intelligence of your species yet. I thought I could just lead you to believe things. I don't say anything as Amicus shifts uncomfortably. On Earth after you saw me. You might have gone to the authorities on your planet with that knowledge, which might have led to a monitor being alerted. Amicus answers my question before I can ask it. Monitors are basically the ears and eyes of the parents. They monitor the galaxy. And what happens then? Amicus sighs deeply. I don't know. It hasn't happened in a long time. And I don't think anyone has ever broken this law. It's one of the most important laws we're supposed to follow. Knowing I'd broken it... Amicus pauses. Scared you? Amicus shakes his head but doesn't say anything. I try to piece all this together in my head. So then you panicked and kidnapped me. It was either that or kill you. Or leave you and hope for the best, but that's a risk I felt I couldn't take. Amicus seems to shrink in his seat. And I guess I just didn't want to tell you because I knew I'd disrupted your life in a terrible way. I thought I might be able to make you forget and want to stay with me if you saw my home. But why? Why did you do it in the first place? What did you want from me? Amicus looks at me for a long time, probably debating on how much to tell me, but then turns away. I needed a pet. Excuse me? Amicus shrinks up even more in his chair. It's a very long story. I glare at the back of his head. Well, if we're going to be here for a while, then I have time. Amicus goes on staring out the window. My father was the Emperor. The throne was mine to take. But my brother has challenged me. So now we're both competing for it. Amicus looks at me out the corner of his eye for my reaction. His expression tells me I should be impressed, but learning he might be an influential figure among his people doesn't really seem too crazy after the events of the past day or so. And getting a pet will help you how? My brother has one. A sibling species, which means that his pet is on the same level as the hierarchy as us. I frown. Oh, and that's unusual? Definitely. It shouldn't even be legal, but somehow he negotiated it. He signed a contract and everything. I shake my head. So what does having a pet do? Amicus shrugs. It's a good status symbol to have. The fact that my brother was able to obtain such a prestigious pet shows his skill at negotiation and has put me at a huge disadvantage. I needed to do something even more grand to impress my father's advisor. He's the one that will choose between us. By kidnapping me? Amicus growls. That wasn't part of the plan. I thought you'd know what I was and would be amazed that a wolf had come back to your species. I was going to make a deal with you like my brother did with his pet. I wanted a sapient that no one has seen in a long time. So that's why I'm here. To be used as some pawn in some power struggle in an alien empire far away. So why can't you take me back? What if I promise not to say anything? I would take you back if I could. I realize now that would have been a better option, but I can't. Why not? First of all, the ship might be damaged beyond repair. Secondly, there isn't enough power to get back. Earth was on the outer reaches of how far I could travel. I need the rest to return home. I managed to stop myself from telling the wolf that all of this is his fault and shouldn't be my problem at all. Well, can we get more power when we get to your home, then go back to Earth? No, it's a type of power that the parents produce. We're not able to harness it. Yet. So get more from them. From whatever you got the power from wherever you got the power in the first place. Amicus leans his head against his headrest. Our parent authorizes and distributes it, then takes it back when we're not on campaigns. We aren't on any right now. I feel myself growing more and more frustrated. Then how the hell are you using it now? A moment of silence goes by. This was my father's ship. Only the Emperor has consistent access to the technology. I borrowed it to get to you. I glare at him. You mean stole it? You know, you're pretty dishonest for someone who says they never lie. Another soft rumbling growl from him. Times are desperate. Ask your dad to take me back, then. If you didn't gather from earlier, he's dead. so no one has access to it right now. I'm just using up what's left. I stare at Amicus for a while, words failing me. Listen, I didn't want to do all those things I did to you. I'm protecting us both. I laugh. Oh, really? Yes. I was planning to bring you back to the palace to live a good life and forget your old one. Then you started asking those questions. I realized your intelligence is much higher than I thought it would be. Then Calm thought you might attack me. I made mistakes. Amicus lets out another huge sigh and slumps in his seat, looking away. Several minutes go by in silence, both of us staring out into the eerie blue. So, what now? What are your plans? Amicus is the one to laugh this time. Get out of these bonds, if you'd let me. I look at him incredulously. Amicus sighs. Listen, you have no idea how to handle this ship. I can at least run diagnostics to see what we can do about this. What's going to stop you from knocking me out again? If you don't attack me or hit me with the Nervo again, then I won't have to. I look at my left armrest to pick up the little taser device. This? Amicus eyes it uneasily. Yeah. How can I trust you after everything that's happened? I give you my word. I frown. And you could go back on it just as easily. I would never do that! I don't make promises lightly, William. Amicus is so indignant that I actually believe him. Or he's just a really good actor. Either way, I'm gonna have to let him go at some point, especially if we really can't get back to Earth. So I make my decision. If I let him go, you have to find a way to get me back to Earth. Amicus thinks for a moment. I can do that if I become Emperor. And how long will that take? Amicus shrugs. A few months if all goes well. With your help, it could even be faster. You're very clever. More intelligent than some wolves I know, even. Months? My parents are probably freaking out by now. School starts in a few weeks. All of these things seem so distant now. Amicus frowns. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything. I need to be an emperor to even talk to the parents. I think, but again, I don't have many options. I look Amicus in the eye. You promise? You have my word. For a moment I sit there contemplating. Then I sit up straight. Alright, stand up. Amicus perks up and hops to his bound feet, almost falling over. I'm sure to place the Nervo close behind me, just in case. A few minutes later, the wolf is free. We both regard each other warily for a few moments before Amicus finally sighs. Listen, I have no reason to incapacitate you now that you know everything, but if it makes you feel better, you can hang on to the Nervo until we get to Adastra. That a fair exchange? I look back at the little device. While I have little reason to trust Amicus, the wolf has virtually no reason to trust me. I consider it, then shake my head. Can we put it away somewhere? I'd rather just not be thinking about it. Amicus looks at me in surprise, and rubs his stomach where I jabbed him. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a deal to me. Amicus holds out his paw, and I look down at the thick black pads on his fingers and palm before picking up the Nervo and handing it to him carefully. For a moment, I imagine him immediately turning the thing around and jabbing it into my face, but instead he turns around and walks towards the back of the ship. On his way, he sweeps up his cape in one fluid motion before wrapping it around his shoulders. Then he moves to the back wall, and sticking out his paw, he presses a panel, and a small portion of the wall slides back, revealing another smaller room. From where I am, it seems like it could be a little cot and various cupboards. He opens one of these and places the Nervo inside before shutting it. He comes back out and notices me staring. That's my quarters. It's where I sleep. If you, need to urinate or whatever else you do, there's a toilet in there. I'm fine for now. I feel my stomach gurgle, something that it's been doing for a while now. I am a little hungry, though. Amicus raises a brow. You want to try it again? Sure. It's not the worst food I've ever had. The earthly smell translates into the taste, but there's a strange hint of sweetness to it. like chocolate that makes it a little more palatable. I can at least swallow it down without gagging, so that's good, I guess. Amicus has his own cup, though he's paying more attention to the panels than his food. I may have been exaggerating a bit earlier. Damage appears to be minimal. We're actually lucky that you didn't lock onto something worse like a pit. A pit? Amicus shrugs, waving his hand in the air as if brushing my question aside. A very strong gravitational singularity that sucks up everything around it. Oh, like a black hole. Black hole. Like its gravity is so powerful that not even light can escape, making it a black hole. Amicus looks at me in surprise. Oh, you know what it is? What that is? Oh, guess I should stop being surprised, honestly. You humans really are something. You've basically uplifted yourselves. I shrug. We touched on it in an Anatomy 101 class. I don't know much about them. But the fact that your species found out about them in the first place. Anyway. Amicus presses a button before suddenly the hum of the ship comes back to life.
Systems back online.
And? Amicus pulls the lever and suddenly the blue disappears from the windows are filled with warping stars again. I immediately look away, feeling the chocolate mud start to work its way up my throat. We're actually almost to Adastra when you took control. Should be there fairly soon. What is this? I wave my hand to the window, not looking. The bending light? It's the stretch drive. Basically, space is being shortened ahead of us. Amicus puts a paw close together in front of himself and stretches out behind us. Amicus stretches his paws out wide. I don't really know how it works. Only the parents can build this kind of tech, and the only way I could get to Earth, or anywhere outside of a star system, really. They even figured out a way to make time stand still around us when we travel. Otherwise, way too much time would have passed back home. I'm starting to get a picture of how powerful these parents actually are, being capable of warping space and time to their will. So, how much more time?
Arriving at Stella Vita.
And just like that, the stars become still again. Amicus grins. Welcome to Adastra, William. I look out the window to see a large green and blue sphere shimmer below me. Slightly to its left is a much larger, chalky gray globe. Amicus points to the smaller of the two. That specifically is Adastra. The planet to the left is Anchorus. There aren't many people there aside from miners. I know you live on a planet, so Adastra might seem a bit small to you. I press a hand to the window and notice that it's ice cold. Looks pretty big from here. Amicus leans over the console and starts touching at the screen.
Re-entry sequence engaged.
Go ahead and put your safety straps on. Re-entry is never comfortable in smaller ships. I hurriedly do as he says, sitting down and trying to figure out the seatbelt. Eventually, Amicus has to come over and help, showing me how to strap and feeds into a slot. This automatically pulls the strap tightly across my waist and chest. As Amicus gets into his own seat, we start to curve around to the darker side of Adastra. Every now and then, there's a bit of downward tug on my stomach. Stomach! Sort of like when the passenger jet I was in was landing in Rome. I'd imagine that things would rattle around along with a bunch of fire and heat like in a Hollywood movie. Instead, there's only rumbling the sound that accompanies the gentle vibration through the seat. There isn't any fire, but I do start to see blue flashes on the otherwise blank windows. I look over at Amicus and see that he's got his eyes closed, looking relaxed. The wolf opens his eyes and smiles gently at me. Don't worry, this is all normal. I realize how nervous I must look, so I nod and lean my head back in the seat. The electric blue flashes stop after a while, and then I feel one final downward pull on my body before the rumbling fades out. We sit in complete silence and darkness for a moment before I hear Amicus moving next to me. Okay, we're in the hangar right now. Just follow me into the palace. Amicus gets up, and the ship stays dark. So does the hangar. Okay, why aren't there any lights? Everyone's probably asleep. I don't want to wake him up. I get the feeling that he just doesn't want anyone to catch us, but I don't say anything. I fiddle with my seatbelt, unable to get it undone. I feel Amicus lean over me, breathing into my ear as his large paw covers mine, pressing something that releases the strap. I stand up, feeling around blindly as I hold onto the seat, only barely able to make out red bristles of the headrest in front of me. I reach out a hand. Hey, Amicus's rough paw pads envelop my hand. What's wrong? I can't see anything. Oh, can you not see in low light? Amicus starts pulling me along before I hear a soft beep and a whooshing sound. Not really. Another sound catches my attention. Crickets. You have crickets here too? At the same time, I'm hit by a wall of humid warmth, almost like walking into a sauna. Amicus puts a paw against my chest. Wait a second. Then I hear a soft thud followed by a grunt. Hello? Lean down. My eyes have adjusted a bit to the dark, and I'm barely able to make out what I think are paws reaching up towards me. I crouch down, and Amicus grabs me under the arms before pulling me clumsily off the deck of the ship. My face mashes up against his furry chest before I'm set down on my feet. Alright, so we're just going to go straight to my room. Try not to make too much noise. I start to nod, but Amicus is already pulling me along. The humidity presses down on me like a physical force, and I start to worry that I might actually have trouble surviving on this moon. It's really hot. Things will cool off once we're inside. I can hear him panting heavily as we move through the hangar. I still can't see much, just angular shapes in the darkness, but I can finally see some light ahead along with some cool, cold air. We turn a corner and I have to blink against how bright it suddenly becomes. Ah. I look around at the pillars and marble floor, the bright lights above me, and what looks like a garden complete with statues extending out to archways. At least I know Amicus wasn't lying about living in a palace. What do you think? Wow. I mean, it looks really cool, really expensive. I don't know if the last part was such a great compliment, but Amicus seems happy. Thanks. It's going to be your home for a while, so I'm glad you like it. Amicus adjusts his cape, fanning it out a little. This is only a small portion of the palace, of course. I'll show you around later, but for now I want to go to my room and dry out a little. I must look like a mess right now. The humidity doesn't do my fur any favors. I can tell Amicus is genuinely embarrassed, even if he's trying to joke, so I put my hand up to my hair. I have a little less to worry about, but I'm sure my hair is pretty crazy right now. True, that patch of fur really is something, though. The wolf reaches out and touches my hair, rubbing it between the pads of his fingers. We've made physical contact several times over the last day, but this is the first time that it really feels friendly. We stand there for a moment, just long enough for things to get awkward. Amicus pulls his hand back suddenly as if realizing what he's doing. Oh, he saved us from having to think of something to say, as we both hear footsteps coming from the hall of our right. Shit! What? Hide and be quiet! Amicus whispers loudly at me and suddenly pushes me hard back the way we came. I stumble before scrambling around the corner. The footsteps get louder as I stand up and press my back against the wall, listening. Amicus! I jump, the person almost shouting Amicus's name. Cassius? Amicus's deeper voice responds, sounding cool and collected. Where the hell have you been? The voice is higher pitched and a little more articulate than Amicus's. I start to look around the corner, then hesitate. Then I do it anyway, wanting to see who this person is. Luckily, Amicus has moved further down the room, so I'm slightly behind this Cassius guy. Oh, Jesus. I see a white wolf, quite a bit smaller compared to Amicus, but no less intimidating. Maybe even more so. I can tell by his demeanor that he's probably not a fun person to be around. But hunting, is something wrong? Hunting? For 2 days? Is that a joke? Was it that long? Yes, you were supposed to make a speech in Lux yesterday. How many times did we remind you of it? Cassius suddenly takes a deep breath. Really, Amicus, you seem to expect everyone to cover up your mistakes. I can't comprehend how you could have forgotten. I lost track of time. That's not an excuse. How do you expect to become emperor if you act this way? Amicus growls. Don't even pretend, Cass. You're probably happy I missed it.
That's ridiculous, Amicus. I only want what's best for the Empire.
Amicus opens his mouth and shuts it suddenly. No, I'm not doing this tonight. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Cassius quietly regards Amicus for a moment, then shakes his head.
Well, Virginia went in your stead, so you have her to thank when she returns.
She's better at that sort of thing anyway.
The point was to show Lux that the next possible emperor stands in solidarity with them. Sending your sister is not a good look.
Well, walking around in undergarments doesn't look good either. You think that's how an emperor should behave?
No one's awake, Amicus. Don't be such a pop.
I'm just saying you look really small without your armor. Now that's not a good look for an emperor.
Excuse me?
What? I only want what's best for the Empire, and a little runt like you definitely isn't. They stare at each other for a long time, though I have no idea what's going on. I can almost see the electricity arcing between them. Finally, Cassius turns on his heel and stalks away, tail squishing furiously.
Good night, Amicus.
Amicus stands there for a moment, still puffed out a little before he finally deflates. Damn it! I stand quietly around the corner, waiting for Amicus to call me back. When he doesn't, I whisper at him. Amicus. His ears perk up, and he turns to me. Hey, come on. We should go before anyone else decides to show up. Okay. I can tell by the way the wolf walks, his ears slightly down, his tail almost dragging, that he's not in a good mood. You alright? Yeah, I'm fine. My brother just knows how to irritate me. I shouldn't have said that to him. We quietly walk through the marble halls, the echoing of our footsteps the only sound. Is he not supposed to see me? I just need to think of the right way to introduce you. Now isn't the best time. Is he the one that challenged you to the throne? Amicus is quiet for a moment before heaving a huge sigh. Yes, and he's really starting to turn my life upside down because of it. Sometimes I think he just sees this all as a game. We come to a stop at what looks like a door. It's completely smooth, though, made of what also looks like marble. Amicus doesn't make a move to open it. And you know, he never seemed concerned for me on my duties until after he made his challenge. That's what bothers me the most, knowing that it's all an act. I guess you're really not close with him, then? Not since we were children, no. A disturbing thought suddenly hits me. Well, you know, in Earth's ancient Rome, the place where you guys uplifted, people would kill each other over the throne, like a lot. Does that happen here? Amicus frowns. I suppose it's happened in the past, but that was a long time ago. Besides, Cassius would never do something like that. Amicus sticks out his paw and presses it to a black square on the wall. The door slides open without a sound. The rush of cool air comes from the room, and Amicus lets out a happy sigh as he steps inside. Ah, that's much better. My dad's advisor keeps the climate way too hot in the rest of the palace. I follow the wolf inside and look around. Aside from a few quirks, the room looks like it could have come straight out of a luxury hotel on Earth. Amicus sits heavily on the bed, making it squeak. He starts to strip off his clothing. Oh, God! Toilet and bath are in there. He nods and ahead at another door across from the bed, this one with a handle. Then he jabs a thumb back at a large curtain. That's the balcony if you want to get some air, though I don't know why you would in this weather. Then he points at the couch. And that can be where you sleep, if it's alright with you. I've known other aliens to prefer the floor, though. Couch is fine. I walk over to the red sofa, sizing it up. It's more than big enough. As I pick up the little black pillow and notice it's covered in fur, I inconspicuously pick some of it off before a light blanket smacks into the back of my head. There you go. Is that all okay? Yeah, this is good. I hope the blanket will be enough to keep off the cold that seems to be wafting down from the ceiling. Good. Like I said earlier, I'll show you the rest of the palace tomorrow. We'll get some real food, too. Amicus sprawls back on the bed, not bothering to drop any blankets, his eyes closed. I actually want real food now. I don't say anything, instead laid down. The sofa's a bit harder than I had expected. Good support, I guess. As I'm settling in, I think Amicus has finally fallen asleep, but that's when he speaks again. And thanks, William. I don't know what he's thanking me for not killing him on the ship, for agreeing to help him become emperor, for the way I took his shitty sofa and flimsy blanket without complaint. I'm not sure, so all I say is, sure. Then I hear the wolf snoring softly as the lights suddenly dim down until they're off. I lay there for a while, though I'm not sure for how long. In fact, time seems to have lost all meaning since I was abducted. Amicus's brother said it had been 2 days, but didn't Amicus say that time freezes when he's traveling in the stretch drive? Had we really spent that much time idling around? I need to stop thinking about everything that doesn't make sense, because that's basically everything. I just need to help this wolf so I can get the hell back home. And to pick apart everything that I've been through since I've been through all I want. For now, I just need to help things move along as smoothly as possible. With that thought in my head, and with the soft sounds of Amicus's gentle snoring, I'm lulled into a light and troubled sleep. Well, there you go, guys. That's it for Adastra Build 0.1. This was good. I liked this. It was different. It wasn't another Echo. The plot is interesting. It seems to have a lot behind it. I'm really looking forward to seeing more from it. I really do look forward to more from Adastra. So I guess that's the highest praise I could give. My excitement level is that of which, if there was more, I would keep playing and make my friend wait even longer to go to Walmart. But there is not anymore, so I shall stop. But until next time, yada yada, fare thee well. Bye, everyone.